Ever look at an old photo and wonder about the story behind it? Not just the people, but the air itself. Today, we rechasing a ghost through American history, a phantom that haunted the first photographs and became a star in the first movies. We're talking about smoke. Before the camera, smoke was just paint on a canvas, a static smear. But when the mechanical eye of photography arrived in the 19th century, it met its match. Smoke refused to sit still. It was the breath of the Industrial Revolution, the shroud of the Civil War, and the magic trick of the silent film era. Following smoke through early American media is like tracing the American psyche itself, from industrial pride to the dark mysteries of the silver screen. In the 1840s and 50s, the daguerreotype captured America with stunning, mirrored precision. But these early photos needed long exposures. People had to sit frozen, sometimes in iron braces, just to not be a blur. Smoke, however, couldn't be tamed. In booming cities like Pittsburgh and New York, factory smoke wasn't seen as pollution. It was celebrated as the incense of industry. Photographers tried to capture these growing skylines, but the technology struggled. Because it moved while the shutter was open, plumes of smoke blurred into a soft, ethereal haze hanging over the city. This technical glitch accidentally created a powerful visual metaphor. The factories and machines looked sharp and solid, but their consequence, the pollution, was rendered as a soft, dreamlike, almost angelic cloud. The camera turned choking smog into a divine sign of progress, allowing 19th century Americans to romanticize the grime of their own creation. Then came the Civil War, the first major conflict extensively documented by photography. Figures like Matthew Brady and Alexander Gardner brought their heavy equipment to the front lines. But here is a secret about battlefield photography. It was almost never taken during the actual fighting. The chaos of battle and slow shutter speeds made action shots impossible. Photographers arrived after the guns fell silent. So, the fog of war that soldiers wrote about, the blinding, sulphurous clouds of gunpowder that turned noon into midnight, is missing from the pictures. Instead, the camera captured the stark, cold aftermath. Silent battlefields, ruined landscapes, and chillingly clear skies. The horror of war in these photos came from this clarity, this stillness. Yet, in sketches and prints from the same time, artists drew heavy clouds of smoke to signal chaos and violence. A split happened. In art, smoke meant action. In photography, its absence meant death and memory. As the 19th century bled into the 20th, the image began to move. Thomas Edison, the Lumiere brothers, unlocked the magic of motion pictures, and suddenly smoke could be captured as it truly was. A living, writhing thing. In the earliest short films, smoke was a favorite subject because it proved the medium worked. A photo of a train is just a train, but a film of a train, with that billowing, turbulent cloud erupting from its smokestack, that was proof of time itself, passing before your very eyes. In 1903, the Great Train Robbery changed everything. When the bandits fired their guns, puffs of white smoke exploded on screen. In a silent world, where you couldn't hear the bang, the smoke became the sound. It was the only cue the audience had to register violence. The bigger the puff of smoke, the deadlier the weapon seemed. Smoke became the visual onomatopoeia for the silent era. A picture that made a sound inside your head. As films got more complex, directors started using smoke for storytelling. It became a powerful tool for emotion. See a gentle wisp of smoke rising from a chimney or a character's pipe. That was the visual shorthand for home. It meant safety, contemplation, and peace. It anchored the American family in a visual warmth that fought against the cold flicker of the black and white projector. But uncontrolled smoke, that was the villain. In disaster films or war epics, thick, dark smoke became a symbol of threat. It obscured the hero, creating tension and suspense. If the audience couldn't see the character through the haze, that character was in danger. Filmmakers learned a crucial lesson. Fear lives in what we can't see. By filling the frame with smoke, they forced the audience to imagine the worst, making the terror far more powerful than any monster they could build. By the late 1920s, just before sound arrived, the symbolism of smoke turned inward. It moved from the factory and the battlefield to the lips of the protagonist. The cigarette became one of the most important props in American cinema. In the hands of a vamp, the original femme photo curling smoke was seductive and dangerous, a sign of moral ambiguity. In the hands of a world-weary detective, it signaled deep thought and existential dread. Lighting technicians even developed special techniques to make smoke look beautiful, to catch the light just right against a dark background. This high-contrast look, known as chiaroscuro, would become the defining visual style of film noir. Its roots are right here, in the silent era, where a simple trail of smoke could fill the empty space between two actors with unspoken tension, desire, and secrets. From a chemical blur in a 19th century photograph to the perfectly lit cigarette on the silver screen, smoke was never just smoke. It was a shapeshifter. It allowed a nation to idealize its pollution, defined violence when there was no sound, and created mystery in a medium that needed light. Smoke was the chaotic, organic soul, trapped inside the rigid, mechanical world of the camera. It was a constant reminder that even in a world being rapidly cataloged by machines, some things could never be fully captured. They just shift, fade, and vanish into the air. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden history of film, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories from behind the screen.